So, do you make money from the podcast? Good morning and welcome to In the Car with Clint. Today I want to talk to you about the podcast that I produce for WaterPro, which is called The Full Landscape. I had a conversation with a client earlier today and he asked me, do you make money from the podcast? And I had to think about it a little bit because we probably do. But the amount of money that we would make from the podcast is negligible compared to what it costs to produce a podcast. And when I say make money, I'm talking direct results. So if you have a podcast and you air it on YouTube and a certain amount of people view it, for every, I don't know, 1,000 views, you might get $100, or I don't even know what the metrics are because I don't even look at it. But I think WaterPro's YouTube channel makes about $300 US a month, and we've obviously got a full-time wage plus all the other additional costs that come with producing content with subscriptions and Adobe subscriptions and things to help try and boost the channel. So the short answer is no, but there are so many other benefits that come with producing a podcast which a lot of people wouldn't look at, and people that are focused on short-term economics, like, you know, how much money we made this month, this year, or this quarter, or whatever, are not going to see the value. But for someone who's trying to build, you know, decades into the future and legacy brand and is focused on their brand, a podcast is a really great way to do so. Now, a couple of things that a podcast has helped me with in my experience. One, when we are looking to recruit new staff, it's very easy for them to do research on me and the company by watching the amount of content that we produce. And that's not just the podcast, there's a lot of other things. That podcast that we produce for WaterPro has actually also helped clients of ours win work or employ potential candidates because they've looked them up on the internet and they found the podcast. Two, it's a good way to meet new people. Now, you can be cynical about it and be like, well, you're only doing the podcast to meet new people. Maybe, but there's no implied contract and I don't ask for anything in return. And, you know, the main focus for me when I'm producing the podcast is to produce as much value for the end user as possible. In our case, generally it's landscapers, by introducing them to new people that might be practicing similar techniques or different techniques in the same industry. And, you know, the byproduct of that is I get some attention, and I like that. You know, I like people knowing who I am, and I want to grow my personal brand because it's an ego thing, and if we can help people improve their businesses along the way, then that's great. And so there's not necessarily direct impacts, but there are indirect impacts in the periods that follow. And probably number three would be that the supplier network that we deal with tend to take us a little bit more seriously around this. You know, so if someone comes in from America because they're here for some special meetings, it's a lot more likely that I'm going to get a meeting with that person than, say, one of my competitors who isn't producing content or isn't bringing value to their brand. So recently we've had people here from America, and, you know, we got a full day with one of these guys who's high up in his field, because we produced content which was going to be beneficial to their brand and ours, so we automatically get the meeting. It also means that we have a voice, and, you know, as the future, and this is probably the last, the fourth point of it, and there's probably others, but nothing that sits really high on my list of concern, but the fourth one is that we have a voice. And it means that when I talk about the ledger of morality being out of balance, so when someone takes a shit on us or on our industry or on one of our customers, we have a louder voice in which to speak our truth. And I probably get involved in balancing that ledger a little bit too much, but, you know, it is what it is. It also means that because we have a loud voice, that we get presented with different opportunities that other people might not. And that might mean exclusivity on product ranges, or it might mean you know, more advantageous deals, because we are bringing as much to the party as the people that we're trying to build a relationship with. So in answer to the question, do you make money from the podcast? Deep down, yes, we do. We make money because we grow our relationships with other people, and, you know, they say your network is your net worth. Well, if you can grow your network, then you're going to start to build your net worth. And so as long as I can afford to do the podcast, I always will. I do not look at the return cost versus the cost of production, it's not something that I concern myself with. And as long as I can continue to afford to produce the podcast, I will, because I really enjoy it. And it gives me an opportunity to meet people. And, you know, more than anything else, I love meeting people. I love learning about people. I love understanding what people are working on. And, you know, there's just so much you can get from it. So if you're thinking about it, I encourage you to do it. It doesn't have to cost much. You can produce a pretty basic podcast using your phone. I would encourage you, if you do a podcast, get good audio equipment and make sure that audio is your focus over the visual. But obviously the better you can do, the better you can do. And just start. And over the time you'll learn and you'll change and you'll get better, and then all of a sudden you'll have 100 followers. Anyway, hope that helps one of you. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It feeds my dopamine. And if you've got any questions, I think I've already said that. So all you need to do now is just be kind to each other and be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.